session, we're going to really look at the kind of formal rolling patterns that we use in Aikido. There's really 7 kind of basic forms that then you can build any kind of Ukemi exercise from. So we'll try and look at the 7, try and cover them all. But really designed really from the ground up. So we're going to look starting in the ground and then build them up into patterns. So we'll take a bow in. Hi. So actually, if you start with teaching Ukemi to kids, the first thing they do is a sausage roll, like a sausage roll. So they do this kind of movement straight away. This kind of movement. So they go straight away into this. The other movement they do very regularly is a front roly-poly. This way, straight down the spine. And this one's a kind of big no-no in Aikido, but actually it's a kind of functional way of moving the body. Against pressure, this is impossible to do so. Going down rolling down the spine into the neck, and also to do a backwards roll in this way is impossible with any kind of pressure or power coming through the body into the ground. But we're going to start with just here, down in the ground. We're going to actually start with some exercises we were going to do at the start, but we couldn't fit in. So these are for the hips. Tends to be the big problem area in the Ukemi work. So you're going to do like this. The feet are flat on the ground and the hands are down in the ground. And you're going to find a 90-90 position with the legs. So both legs come down into the ground. Like this. The hips to keep the hands down in contact with the mat. You're going to raise up. Keep the feet where they are. So don't shift the feet. Just allow the legs to sink into the ground this way. It's a full 90-90 position with the legs. You're just alternating each side. Take this nice and slow. Feel the hip. Knee open. Legs forward in the ground. As much weight in the arms as you need. As much as possible not to shift the feet. Slowly, side to side. Good. Okay, now what you're going to do to really get into the hip joint, you're going to come to the ground, keeping the hands on the ground. What I want you to do is lift the outside leg off the ground. So just a couple of centimeters, and then release it, and then go to the other side. You really feel the stretch. So from here, keep the hands on the ground, and just this leg, I just want you to see if you can reach it off the ground. It doesn't matter if you can't reach it off the ground, you can't lift it. It's just the actual impulse of lifting it will reach into the hip joint. So, and if I can lift it, just means that the hip, a little bit of strength in it. There. So just a few each side. Just go to the side. Just lift the leg up. The ground.
Is supposed to stay on the ground?
The knee.
Yes. The foot goes up, the knee stays down.
Stays down in this case, just the foot. Okay. If you can lift the leg as well, that's also good. You can also do that. Reach into the hip, just the foot. Okay, I'll try this movement just without the hands. So you're just going to roll in the hip this way, roll this way. There's 2 ways. You can go into a sit position, really into the sit bones, and then coil over this way. But try not to use the hands. You can use them as a counterbalance in front of the body, but try as little as possible. You need to use the hands, but ideally keep the core just turning and rotating. Right, this core movement. That's slowly, slow the better, slower the better. Okay, and then from here, what you're going to do, in this case, you can use the hands if you need to, but try not to if you can. You can be in this position. What you're going to do is really raise this hip off the ground. So you're going to raise this up. You're going to come to this position. So kind of really strange kneeling position. And then what you're going to do is swing this hip through and come to a kneeling position fully. Okay, so you swing it back this way. So you're in this position. What you do is really raise the hip up off the ground, hip up, and then swing the leg through this way. So just do a few each side from here. Make sure this knee is supported. So if you've got a mat, really make sure this knee is supported, because if you're on a hard, this can be quite painful. So from here, really raise the hips off the ground. Raise the hips and then swing the hips through that way. So just do a few each side. Raise, swing. Raise, swing the leg through. 5 or 6 and then change side. So we're going to allow hips to raise up off the ground. Raise, swing through. That's it. Yeah, good. Nice. Okay, we're going to do the last one just for the legs. You're going to come down into a 90-90 squat. Like this. Ooh, someone's come in. Hello. Okay, you're going to be in a 90 position like this. Lunge. And then what I want to do is raise the foot off the ground. And you're going to come forward so you can straighten the leg out fully back this way. So again, trying to get really into the internal hip, come down to the ground, raise up off the ground. You need to use the hands on the front leg just to support. Really just reach and see as straight as you can get with the back. Down. You do it. Good. And then just change it side and come down into a 90-90 lunge. Really motivate from the hip, straighten the leg. Straight. Nice. Okay, last one. You go down into like a frog position. So like this. Here with the hands forward. You're going to straighten the leg out. Here this way, and sit back into the leg. This way. Weight in the arms, and then what I want you to do is raise this leg off the ground. Again, just a couple of centimeters. And again, it's not important about lifting it, it's just about motivating the movement from the hip. Raising it this way. Lift up the hands, release it. Press into the hands, press the leg out. Just a couple of centimeters is enough. And then just change sides. Into kind of frog position, stretch the leg out as fully as you can. Press weight into the hands. Raise it off the ground. That's very briefly. Raise. Raise. Okay, good. Just take the hips out. Loose. Use some strange kind of rolling positions. Again, they go to the natural position that kids naturally go to, which is basically a lateral movement to do it. So from here, you're going to be in a sit position. Here, you're just going to roll over the body and roll over this way. Very easy movement. You're going to sit in position, motivate from the core. And then just and try. You do it by pressing with the hands. So this way, and then pressing back out with the hands. But in this case, we really maximize the use of the core. So really try and motivate from the core. The hands are just going to be used as a support. They're just going to kind of give direction to the move. A few each side. Rolling. Down. Trying to really maximize the use of the core. That's it. The next one from the sit position is to swing the legs out to the back. So what you're going to do is swing the legs out and come into this position. Yeah. Come into a kind of cat position, into a whatever position. You can do this actually. It's easier on a hard ground. This way. So you're going to come down, use the hands if you need to, swing the core out. This way. So you end up on the stomach. And then what I want you to do is use the same direction, swing the body back out this way. So really using the core. Hands, swing the core out, swing back. So really using the legs as a counterweight. The arms just used as a support. So press the hands back, swing the core out, and go back the same way you came. So swing them out. So the legs swinging. Okay, now from this position, you're going to go down, swing the legs out one way, and you're going to complete the circle. So you go down onto the stomach, swing them all the way around the back. Good. And now you combine them. So these two movements, the movements of coming over the hands this way, over the hands this way, and the movements of swinging the legs. You basically combine them, you can go in any direction. Use the legs as a kind of swinging pendulum and the arms as a support. So the arms are going to give me direction where I want to go, and the legs are going to create the pivot or the back rear end of the fulcrum to turn the body. So use the arms and legs in different ways. So your arms are used for direction, and the legs are used as a kind of the legs from the hips into the thighs, into the leg, used as a kind of fulcrum, swing of the body. So allow the legs, the weight of them, to really swing the body through. Swing the body through. Just play with these movements. You get a sense for the independence that what the arms do and what the legs do are totally different. We get a sense of sinking, receiving into the ground, rolling out into a sit position. Just two more.
Okay.
Okay, great. So this is really all preparation work. One, to get in touch with the ground. The main thing is to get in the hips flexibility and the hips coming into contact with the ground. So all the main issues in learning Ukemi, the hip contact with the back. It's also one of the main problems people come up with in terms of the hip actually coming into contact with the ground. You tend to get a lot of pain. Soften this region, allow it flexibility, and actually receive into it rather than something rigid in the hip and falling into the ground this way. So this is the main work in that case. Oh, in this case, I'm going to go into the kind of classic backwards roll exercise. So from here, you're going to use the in this position. You're really going to use the hand, so one hand behind. Really with a sense of kokyu as well. You're going to roll down one arm, switch the legs.
Ja, dat ik ook. En mijn benen komen omhoog.
So actually, in this case, what you're doing is an extension in the.
Ja, dat kan ik niet doen.
You keep going. That's it. Right here, the same work you were doing. Also, one of the key works we did in this preparation is like that the arms in the direction and that the legs act as the kind of weight pivot of the whole movement. So in this case, really see if you can keep a straight direction. So you go down and you come up the same way. So I'm using the center line and I'm bending the body around the center line. Really keep a straight move, but the body's going to coil and spiral through the line. So even though the body stays on the center line,
Fijn.
coil it. So you
Op je
arms for direction.
Fijn.
Your counter.
Nee, dat is echt leuk. Stop ermee. Je mag meedoen.
That's it.
Deze beweging.
That's it. Great.
Yep.
Okay, don't rush this movement. Also, try and also maximize the contact at this part, especially this part. Yes, really take your time with the connection into the ground here. What we tend to do is speed up through this part. This way, try and kind of speed up. Try and keep one constant movement and really maximize the connection all the way down the body. So the slower you can do this, the more control you have. The other Ukemi. But if you notice a kind of jerk in the movement or a kind of wish to speed up, try and kind of control that especially that part. Take that part a little bit slower. You're looking for a kind of grace in the movement, which means you're not really in resistance with the ground anymore. Allow the body to soften into the ground. Through the limbs, through the body.
Michael, I've got a question.
Go ahead.
Does your head touch the ground as well when you're turning?
Actually,
whenever
that's a
you're
good
going
point.
backwards?
Good point. Yeah, in terms of all these Ukemi, the head will never touch the ground. This is one of the key parts that as I go back, if my head's touching the ground, then I've really compromised myself. In terms of later when someone's adding pressure and throwing you to the ground, if my head's making contact with the ground, this is where you get into problems, brain damage. So in this case, the head tucks into the body. In terms of flexion, connecting this way here, and when I go back, you can see the head space my head in the ground. And that's really a protection for the back, for the head. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
In all of the Ukemi we do from now on, the head will never touch the ground. Good. Okay, from here, so we're going to a kind of backwards roll. You're going to really take this slowly. So what you're going to do is come from a kneeling position like this. I want you to really work with the hands. So the same leg that's forward, that arm's going to create an arc down the body this way. So you've got this kind of position here. And the other arm is also going to arc this way across the body here. So you're going to use this kind of position. What I want you to do is just roll back, find the ground, and what I want you to do is touch the ground to the back. So the front toe, this leg, is going to roll back and as if it's going to reach over and touch the ground to the back. This way. And then bounce out, press forward. So again, if you can do this slowly with control, the backwards roll will actually be very easy. So really with flexion, the front toe reaches back, the same shoulder touches the ground, and then just press yourself back or forward. So in this position with the arms, here, roll back over the shoulder, press into the ground, and roll back. You're just going to make contact with the toe and press. Okay, good. That's it. In terms of footwork, this is really important. As you go back, let me show this way. What I don't do is keep the head straight. So if the head goes straight over this way, it will touch the ground. So I don't want the head to touch the ground. In this case, when you go over, the head rolls over this way. So your head's going to coil into the spine as well. So you're always doing a kind of spiral movement with the body. You're never doing a linear movement with these rolls. So all of the rolls that you do are spiral movement, which means that the head is going to always follow the spine in this way. So the spine is flexing this way, the head's going to follow it. Okay, but don't do a linear movement in this case.
Michael, in this case, do you actually roll on the side of the leg that's actually lifted, or do you roll on the side that's the one that's on the ground?
There's two ways you can do it. I actually learned this one way and then relearned it another way. So I'll show you both if I can. Let's see. Okay, so you got two ways of doing it. You got this. The method we use is the safest method is the same leg, same shoulder. So this leg, I go over this same shoulder. The other way of doing it is that this leg goes crosses over the shoulder this way. Okay, so this leg crosses over the shoulder this way, that way. But this one's much more dangerous, and I can't really maintain that structure during pressure. So in this case, keep this leg over the same shoulder. Hip to this shoulder. So this hip to this shoulder.
Okay, thank you. I'll give it a go.
Go. Okay. In this case, what I want you to do is just come through into Caesar. So you bring the body down, roll back, just bring both legs through. So you're going to come into
Yeah.
and then just roll down. Bring it. Okay. Give it a try. Okay.
Okay. Prácticamente subestaldi.
You get next step with this. It take a while on these kind of fundamental ones. All the rest follow from it. So from here, you can do either sitting or kneeling. What you're going to do is roll back. Yeah, and then this back leg that you brought through to Caesar position, you're now going to bring through, and you're going to step up through it. Okay, so you're going to go from here, sit into the ground, roll all the way back. The back leg's going to swing through, and you're going to stand up through it. Yeah, so from here, from the standing position, come into kneeling, sitting, coiling through, and then swing the back leg through. And you should be able to just walk up through that position like this way. Yeah, so just take a few steps through it. Go to the ground, find the position with the hand, coil down. This way, swing the back leg through, and then just step through a few steps.
No, my right.
And then do the other side. Turn up from sitting to standing, from standing to rolling, back to standing. That's it. Right.
Michael,
Sure, go ahead.
my right hand doesn't feel comfortable. Am I putting it in the wrong way?
Let me see. Just
Okay.
to show. You can,
Don't know whether you can see me. So,
yeah, okay. Doing it. Okay, good. Yeah, so there's two ways. I'll show you also. I'm gonna see me later at the end. I'm gonna explain something now, but I'm gonna show you at the end. There's two ways to do the roll. We're gonna look at we're going to the forward roll now. This is the same problem that Serena's actually having. When I teach this to beginners, when we go to the forward roll, the tendency for the shoulder to collapse again. So from here, we tend to go into a forward roll like this way. And the first thing to happen is the shoulder hits the ground and the beginner quits the dojo straight away. This is a really terrible way to teach the roll. So in a sense, when you teach this roll, you can go from this position and keep the arm out straight. Now it's important that the shoulder doesn't over rotate. It stays back and down, but I use the ground this way, in this case here. And then I press the body through for the roll this way. Okay, you can do the same with the backwards roll. You can press the arm straight down and roll over this way. Hopefully you can see. So the backwards roll you can do like this, the arm straight down and then rolling the body over. Okay. This method I will use to teach beginners, but as soon as you've got the roll in this way, I will teach straight away to go into this position. And using the shoulder as the contact point. And on the backward roll, using the shoulder inside the body this way. This is because it's safer in terms of falling on the ground. If I roll this way in the dojo it's full of people, the arms away from the body. In this case, the arms away from the body, it's very easy for it to get stood on. So if I get this arm stood on during a practice and then I raise through it, the shoulder's destroyed. So in a sense, what I want to do is keep the arms inside the body this way. So you're going to go to the forward roll. If you're new to it, keep the arm out this way. If you're used to it, keep the arm here. What you're going to do is press one hand into the ground. The front hand touches the knee, and I extend through. Make contact with the shoulder, and then roll the body through, really slowly. So I'll show it like this. So the front hand down. With this hand, you're really going to push the opposite knee this way. Make contact with the shoulder, and slowly coil the body through. Keep it really slow, especially if you're working on a harder surface. Press the hand down, touch the knee and press it back. Shoulder to the mat, and then coiling through the body this way. Yeah, keep this nice and slow. Yeah, give it a try. So into a forward roll. Yes. So really be clear what you're doing with the hands also. They really give you direction in this case. So if my hands are kind of in different kind of strange positions, I don't really know what to do with them, then you'll get, the body will be distorted through the form and you'll lose a sense of direction. So really use the hands in a kind of smart way. You come here, as you roll through, this hand releases and finds the ground this way. So I use the arms like tracks for the body. So press the arm down, really create contact with the ground here. This hand releases through. Releases through. It does the same thing as you do in the reverse, the backwards roll. It reaches over this way. So create tracks with the arms. This way. This way. Yeah, so you can really slow the movement down. Allow the arms to do the job of direction. That's it. All right. Okay, I want you to see also if you can avoid doing this. This is a kind of common thing. Sometimes people teach this. I don't. So in this case, what I want you to avoid is pushing out with the feet. What I want you to avoid is kind of jumping out with the feet. In this case, this way, coming to here and then pressing out. Pressing out. I don't want you to do this. This creates momentum in the roll that you don't actually need. What I want to do is fold the body into the ground, but I don't want to push off the ground and then do a fall this way. So you're not falling, you're rolling into the ground. So I transfer weight, but I don't press out from the feet. Does that make sense? Hopefully. So when you do this, feel the weight transfer. But I don't push out from the ground. Because I don't want to create momentum and then try and deal with it. Later with a partner, you deal with, how do I deal with momentum coming into the body? But for the basic, I need to just know how to fold and receive into the ground without adding to it. So just have a sense of this. Really slow and controlled. Yeah, give it a try. So try not to push, try not to kind of launch yourself into the roll. Try and just fold, collapse into the roll. That's it. There we go. Yeah, great. Great. Super. Very nice. Okay, good. So we're going to go to a standing forward roll. So you can do this very carefully on a hard surface. If you've got a really soft surface, then I'd advise use this, but I'm going to show you on a hard surface just so you know. From here, from the standing position, what I need to do is really squat into the legs and reach into the ground. So from here, I'm going to establish a really clear connection with the hips down into the ground. And I'm going to reach the ground, reach into the ground, and then coil into it this way. The real important thing on a hard surface is do not leave the toes up. So when you go over this way, don't leave the toes up this way. If you leave the toes up as you come in and you're on a hard surface, that you will break the little toe as you come through. I know, so don't do it. So as you come through, keep the foot flat on the ground. And then if you make contact with anything, it's with the ankle, and that's better than the toe. As then as you come through, use the hands and just coil yourself up. So don't worry too much about the raising of the body. Just really play on the sinking. You really sink into the ground. Really practice so that you feel comfortable. Here. Coil into the ground and use the hands as a support as you come up. So coil into the ground. This way. Keeping the foot flat as you roll. Yeah, give it a try. Nice and slow. And if you want, stay with a kneeling position. So if you're not quite comfortable, my advice, if you feel any kind of fear in the roll, don't do it. So if standing's too much, go to kneeling. But don't go over your fear. That's it. That's it. Nice. Great, great, great. Good. Okay, then what you can do with this roll, this is kind of comfortable. You can take it one at a time, but now you can do this continuously. So what I want you to do is from this position, find a roll, slowly coil up, and then find the next one. Coil up, find the next one. So this foot really now opens and hinges, and then I sink into the next one. Opens, hinges. Open, hinges. Open, hinges. Open, hinges. Yeah, you can do this really slow. You can do this kind of continuously. Give it a try. Let's see.
Excuse me, Michael.
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
Where am I looking? Towards the arm that I'm putting to the ground first, or the other way?
It's the arm. In this case, let's see. You mean when you finish the roll, or during at this point?
When you first hit the ground.
When I first hit, I'm basically going to watch the back. I'm going to kind of watch the back foot this way. As you go down, I'm actually taking the head. I'm going to coil it in as if I'm watching this back foot, the one that's extended. This way.
Oh, okay, nice picture. Thank you.
Follow it through this way. So as if I'm looking at my foot, and keep watching that foot. So as you coil over, keep watching it, and you'll watch it flick, swing over the other side.
Right, that's right.
And then come out from the ground that way. Good. Okay, so these are really the two basic forwards and backwards, and you can really take these in any direction. The main directions are that you start to work sideways, and then you start to work front back. So what you're gonna try, in this case, this is the roll I use most often in terms of taking a technique. So a technique done fast and with speed, I will generally take this kind of Ukemi. This is the one that comes up the most. So in this case, this is like a forwards backwards roll. So my body's facing this way. I actually take the roll backwards. Now in this case, the backwards roll is useless for taking any kind of real pressured throw. If I try and attempt a backwards roll after someone's really pressing me into the ground, the body will just collapse into the ground. So the backwards roll is not a very functional roll in terms of real pressure. So what you do in this case is the body's facing forward, and I roll back this way. This way. Yeah, so this is kind of forwards facing. No, backwards facing front roll. So the body's facing this way, but actually roll back through the body. So this is really based on the front roll, the forward roll. So I establish this direction and I roll over this way. This is a really practical roll. So you face this way, yeah, and you coil over to the back this way, this way, this way, this way. You can do this really slow, and you can do this into the ground. So if you're not so sure about this one, coil down into the ground, keep the direction this way, and then roll to the back this way. This is very similar to, it's kind of a mix between the front and back roll. So give this a try. The main difference is where my attention is. My attention is to the front, it's not to the back. So this is a practical roll in keeping connection with your partner during technique. Give it a try.
Michael,
Yeah,
you're not turning your body, eh?
no, in this case, the body turns, but my attention stays forward. So you can see. Oh no, you can't see.
No, I can see myself.
Oops. Okay, so the key to this one, feel like my attention really stays forward. So
yeah,
in this position, the attention stays forward. Now the body curls this way, but I don't kind of twist into it this way. I split my attention. My attention's really forward, and then I curl the body. Actually, my attention, my where I'm looking is actually always to the front. So if you can imagine, sometimes I do this exercise in the dojo, push the person to the front.
Yeah.
Continue forward with a strike, with an attack. So basically, it's a very practical use of the Ukemi. So it's a try. You're basically going to keep the attention forward.
Michael, it's more of a forward-facing side roll.
A little bit, yeah. Ideally, we go to the sideways roll, and then we take this direction to the back. But in a sense, yeah, it's very much kind of sideways. It's somewhere between the front and back. So it's kind of feeling. Yeah, that's it. Great. Okay, I'm going to show you the others just so you know them, and then I want you to go into kind of a little bit of freestyle. Let's show you the other rolls. There's kind of 7 basic ones. So we've done the. I'm going to do them on the spot because some of them are quite dangerous. So, in the first one, first the front roll. Kind of front roll this way. It tends to be the first one, and then the second one's the backwards roll. We're kind of really familiar with these. So the back roll, front roll. This way. From that way, I can't really show this one. Oh, maybe I can, just about. You do a forwards, backwards. So this is turning into back. The next is to go into sideways. So you do from a sideways position and roll. This is where my attention's really stays to the side that way. The next one you do from here is front facing backwards. So front facing back. So my attention stays to the front this way and roll off that way. The next one from there is across the body. So you change the body this way. So you cross across. So you spiral across. This is a contrary. So across the opposite. Also a very practical use of rolling. This way. The last one is from a handstand or from a cartwheel. So I'm not going to show it. No, I'll show it. So this one you should do it. Then you go into the roll. It's basically where you're lifting the whole body weight off the feet and find a roll from that position. So it's not really practical, but it's just a way to practice falling. So what I want to do is I want you to do 2 minutes. I want you to really combine all the movements we've done So that means all these kind of primal movements on the ground. Ideally do this on a kind of semi-hard floor. Find the ground, play with movement, and then when you feel like it, just find the ground, find a roll. Just move the body. You can go from standing, sitting, really just move the body. You can do this as slowly and as controlled as you like. Just really explore. 3 minutes. 2 minutes, sorry. 2 minutes. Give it a try. So just really play with the forms. These kind of animal movements, natural body movements, and then into the roll. Really just play with your body. What you're doing is really play with the connection in the ground. That's it. Good. So all these kind of animal walks, cartwheels, switching rotations. Just really play with the ground. Right. Great.
So,
Yeah, just 1 more minute. Keep going. Yeah. Right. That's it. Okay, great. Just coming up nice and slow. Take your time. Brushing off. Got any grass? Good. Okay, just shaking the body out. So we're kind of start with where we started, with these 5 directions. Just vertical. Hopefully you feel a bit more free in the body, a bit more connected, a bit more open.
Slippers aan, Nina.
Vertical.
Nee, slippers aan.
Just go.
Doe je sokken hier overheen lopen.
Sink the weight to the ground. Front and back, so just swaying the body. Be good for the spine.
Dan ben ik wat klas van die sokken.
Rolling, shoulders. Really change the rhythm of it. So do this fast, small, big. Really play with it.
Like a lot.
Lateral, side to side. Really roll in the body. Way.
Nee, wie staat hier gewoon staan?
Good spiraling from the hip. Play with it. Arms loose.
De ruimte.
Connected to the ground.
Dat is een knie voorbij. Je bent draai door op je knie.
Okay, last one, internal, external. Opening, closing. Rolling, opening the body up. Bending the pelvis, bending the knees. Bowing, bending.
ik ga het veel sneller.
Ja, daar gaat het niet om.
Go small, go big. And then the last, just really combine all the movements together. So you can either pick two directions, front and back, and vertical. Roll on the body. That's great. You can use kind of vibration movements. Just follow the body. What does the body want to do? And then just lastly, just for the wrists. Hands, just shaking them out, loosen them, shake them, roll them, opening the fingers, closing them. The same for the toes and the feet. Just open and close them, roll them on the ground. Just kind of notice anything. Maybe it's out of place, hopefully not. Good. Okay. Just a few minutes, just standing. You just really feel the body. Good. Okay, we'll take the bow out. Final leg. Okay. どうもありがとうございました。